Okay. Hello, so it's our TED Talk. Today's topic about the puzzle of motivation, something like that. We don't have an exact plan how to do it, so we're open. We can do it in any way. And the topic was suggested by Gerard, and we expect that he will start our discussion.
Actually, it was suggested by Irina.
Sorry.
He gave us the list, and I choose this one.
Mm-hmm. We have some link to whiteboard made by teacher Lee, and we have some questions here, vocabulary, and so on. So we can use that. And also we have questions on our class page.
Let me do a screen share real quick and see if this works. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So these are the questions that I think Gerard posted.
Yes.
And these are just some vocabulary words I listed just in case you didn't hear them, or just to make sure you know what they mean, and we can ask what they mean if you aren't sure. These are some more vocabulary words that Ivan added. And these, if you haven't heard of the carrot and stick approach before, these are a couple of links that will show you some pictures that will make that more understandable to you and provide some discussion. So you can bring up this this link here separately on another screen if you have two screens, and kind of keep it in view, or we can share the screen and everybody look at it. But if you want to see everyone's faces, then you don't want to, you may not want to screen share. So
yes, teacher Lee, we already have a link in our chat, so everyone can click on it and see the whiteboard. So
exactly.
you can switch to camera again.
Let me see if I can figure out how to stop the screen share here. Normally I have a thing that says stop screen share, but I don't see it now. Why is that?
Everything is fine. We are looking on you now.
Okay, apparently it stopped sharing. Okay.
Okay. So, Gerard, would you like to start, or we just choose some question from our list?
Maybe we should start by our vocabulary.
Okay, there is a lot of vocabulary. I also put my own list, which I from words when I never meet before. It's a lot, but maybe it's not interesting for everyone. So I don't know. Should we start from each item, or just choose something interesting?
We could follow the list. The list.
Or
Yes.
we can just start by talking about what the video was about, and then go to Gerard's questions.
Okay.
Either way, the vocabulary is just something for you to ask about later if you don't know what they mean.
Good idea. So the video was about motivation. What motivates us to do something? And the speaker explained an experiment, how to hook a candle, having some tools. I don't know how to say that, little things that you can stick papers.
Tacks.
Tags, okay, tags.
Okay, tack.
We had tags, we had a box, and a candle. I don't know if we had anything. I don't think so. So the experiment was about how to stick the candle on a wall with these tools, and people spend different amount of time, and they tried with rewarding them, whether if that would make them go faster. And the experiment showed that the people who were incentivized with more money, perform worse.
Yeah, very surprising thing.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising for me, actually. But then, when I thought about it a little bit longer, it wasn't. It wasn't, because actually we see this idea everywhere, yeah? This way of, I don't know, rewarding people with something. So if you do this, you will get that. So, and it turns out it does not work this way in business. At school. So school is it's a big problem for me. My little one is at school now, so those kind of grades, they do not work for her. They do not help. So probably it's the same approach. It does not work.
And what he said in the tape, he made a distinction between two kinds of work.
Mm-hmm.
Simple routine work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mechanical, just mechanical work. It works. Mm-hmm.
You have to think or do critical thinking.
Yeah.
It interferes with that kind of work and actually slows you down. So. Okay.
And it's my question: how we differentiate this work? Why one is mechanical and another one is requires thinking? Because I did this. I wrote this example in our class page. Some jobs which I meet on my work need a lot of thinking at first, but after you did it once, it's just a mechanical work after. But but it's not the same for other guy who never met it before. So it's not so clear for me how to distinguish this work.
We have a term called muscle memory. You may have heard. Mechanical work that's repeated, repetitive, over and over. Like you say, the first few times you do it, you're slow. But once you learn how to do it, your body muscles actually remember the motion that you go through. And you can actually do that routine while you're looking around and thinking of other stuff. And we call that muscle memory because your muscles by themselves remember that motion and you don't have to think about it anymore. Think of driving a car. You have, if you have a stick shift, a manual transmission, you have one foot on the clutch, one foot on the brake, one hand on the steering wheel, and one hand shifting gears. So all four limbs are doing something at the same time, right? Yet you can do that while you're smoking a cigarette, talking to your friend, and looking around. So your muscles, your legs and arms are doing things from memory. So that's the kind of routine thing that we're talking about. For that, go faster. You can do that stuff faster because your muscles know what to do without your brain thinking. But something that's more complicated, like looking for a station on the radio where you have to focus your attention, that's not something you can do faster necessarily because you have to, be very precise when you're turning the knob. So that's kind of how I would define a mechanical action. Something that your muscles can remember the motion so that your mind doesn't have to tell your arms and legs what to do.
Yes, and there is my point. There is my point that we can define the task like creative or mechanical just because of task. We need to know who will do it because it depends on person. So task that by itself cannot be creative or mechanical because if you just did it to child, it will be creative for sure because it's how they do. So
but
it's tricky.
If there's only one way to do it, though, eventually everyone will be doing it the same way. Now, writing is a different example. If I say write a story, that's that you have to stop and think because you're not writing the same words over and over and over. You're writing different words each time you think about something. So Yeah, there's a little difference in the tasks. But good point. Okay.
On my work, I always see this problem of motivation. When you start to pay people more, it does not. It's not mandatory that they will work better. Usually, it's does not matter. So I'm not so excited about the point of video. It's pretty usual for me. It's pretty I have this expectation about the topic of the video.
So how do you motivate people then?
It's hard, and in my opinion, in most cases, it's impossible. If people lost,
Oh my goodness, sad thing you're saying.
if man or someone, a woman, lost own motivation, it's very hard to motivate again. So
There is a
Go ahead, Jordan.
there is a company who motivates their workers. I guess all of you know it is Google. They have excellent facilities where their workers can rest. They have a time where they can do the project they want to do, and they have many interesting things that makes their work more interesting.
And what the speaker is saying is scientific evidence has shown us what we just discussed, that mechanical tasks, more money does not improve performance. For thinking tasks, for mechanical tasks, more money improves performance. But for thinking tasks, more money does not improve performance. Now, given that scientifically proved fact, businesses are ignoring that. For example, a CEO, the head of a company, right? CEOs are paid millions of dollars, so they will do better for the company. And his point is, paying a leader more money will not make him perform better. It will narrow his focus and make him perform worse. So his point is, companies are ignoring scientific evidence and doing the wrong thing to motivate the leaders. And that's, I think, his main point, is we're not smart. Businesses are not smart.
they just have habits. They used to make it this way.
Exactly.
But there is a slightly strange fact. What speaker said about Google and 20% of free time, it's not exactly true. What I heard that you need to have a manager allowance to do that, and also you have to close all your tasks on your main job. After that, you have 20% for do something, but not everything what you want. Do something on other companies' projects. So it's slightly different.
I think the intent is that you relax your mind and let's say, okay, I'm going to take 2 hours today. I'm not going to think about anything else. I'm just going to think about anything I want. So you may think about something at work, like, when I do this, it's very difficult because I got to do A and B and C and D. So let me take this 2 hours to think about a better way to do that. So the idea, I think, is to think about how to improve things you do or things for the company, or to think about what's a new product that we could create and sell for money. It's not think about your kids at home or think about the car you're going to buy next week. It's thinking about something that may help your business, but instead of focusing on your normal tasks, which might be mechanical, you can just think about anything you want. Let your mind kind of open up and relax and say, it'd be nice to have a machine that did this. And now you can start thinking about that and how you might create it, and so that's the idea of this free time. It's to let your imagination kind of wander and think about other things. But the goal is, how can it help your company? I think.
Diana, what
Yeah.
would you like to add something about video?
Well, I was thinking, about motivation and how I can motivate my students, because this is the problem that I'm dealing with, like all the time, every single day. Yeah, and it is hard. And actually, it is sometimes hard to motivate yourself. So, but I think that motivation goes from within. It is hard to motivate. Yeah, you can show someone. Why you can give the reasons why you should do something, but actually without your own belief that this is useful for you, it is impossible to to be motivated. I think that well, actually it's a challenge. It is a challenge. So well,
So you don't want to show us your tricks about motivation?
sure, yes, that's a secret. That's a secret, yes. I'm gonna keep it deep
Okay.
inside.
Okay, but we had a nice segue from topic of the what we think about video to our
Uh-huh.
own way to motivation.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Gerard, do you have a own way to motivate yourself? Some tricks and tips for us?
I know his trick. I know.
Let me interject one thing. If you look on the whiteboard, one
Uh-huh.
thing that Diana touched on was internal and external motivation, and the speaker did mention that. He talked about intrinsic versus extrinsic.
Right.
Paying someone more money is extrinsic.
Mm-hmm.
Praising someone, making their self-esteem feel better, praise is intrinsic. If people do something because they want to do it,
Right.
and you praise them and they want to do better, that's intrinsic motivation. But if you give them money, or you give them a little prize like a ball or something, that's extrinsic. So what Diana mentioned, the speaker did cover. Okay, go ahead, Gerard.
I think I'm not able to motivate myself to do something that I don't really like. So I'm learning English because I love learning English, and this motivation came for a need. The reason was a need of to do my job, but then it was increased because I like reading and watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy them better in English. And other activities, I like other activities that some people need motivation, like reading. But for instance, reading started to be my main hobby at the age of 7, but nobody instilled me to read. It came alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to motivate people who don't like to do something.
We say you can lead a horse to water.
Right.
Drink. He has to want to drink inside.
Yeah.
And I just noticed that Vasants joined us. Vasants, hello. Can you speak?
Hello, Ivan. Actually, I mistakenly logged into our regular Hangout link, so I could see only Teacher Lee and nobody. Just now
So
I
you-
figured it out.
So you too.
Yeah.
Okay, Vasants, we just discussed the video about motivation. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was really informative.
If you want to add something about this video, about your own motivation way, tell us.
In my way, I had a lot of things about, but nothing came to me right now in my mind.
Okay.
I need to, yeah, I need to correct something.
Yes,
Speak
and
right. Okay.
if you don't allow you to speak because we are speaking always, just write something in the chat, like T for talk, Q for questions, like that.
I keep forgetting about that all the time. I'm sorry.
Okay, so who is next? Teacher Lee.
I think we can go back. I think we've talked enough now that we can answer or discuss Gerard's questions.
Mm-hmm.
His first one was, how do you motivate yourself? And Diana and Gerard both touched on it, I think. it has to be internal, intrinsic. You have to tell yourself, I need to do this for this reason. And I think we discussed another TED Talk, if you remember, about that, and she said, you have to make up your own reasons. Do you remember that? So if you don't want to do something, as Gerard said, sometimes you have to make up reasons why you should do it to motivate yourself to do it. So, you know, I need to do this for my job, my boss will give me a raise,
Oh, no.
will be proud of me, you know, it'll make my health get better. You've got to make up your own reasons to kind of motivate you as to why you should do something. So I think that's the gist of question number one. Does anybody want to add to how you motivate yourself?
Some people use affirmations, you know, just keep repeating themselves something like over and over and over again until it becomes your motivation. I don't know, it does not work for me. Maybe just because I just repeat it a couple of times, maybe I have a couple of dozens times, then probably it will work.
Well, I have my own way to motivate myself, but I don't think that it's a good way. So
it is your own. It is good for you.
Yes, and the gist of this method is I just wait. If I have intrinsic motivation to do something, I don't consider it as a problem. I just like it. I just do it because I like it. But if I don't have my internal motivation to do that, I just wait. I just wait when situation getting worse and worse, and I have to decide and do something. So it's my way.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Our second question: how would you motivate people who want to learn English but don't have enough motivation? Diana's
yeah, my problem.
And I think the first thing is you have to ask the student first, why are you learning English?
I do that.
Find out what they think their motivation is, and if you can add to that to convince them or give them more reasons to believe it's a benefit, that may help to intrinsically motivate them.
Yeah, actually, this is what I usually do with my new students, right? Because first thing, when you get acquainted with a person, you need to know why this person needs English. Yeah, why? What's the thing? Yeah, it is very good when the person say, okay, in half a year I'm going abroad and I need this for my job. So the motivation is so high and it is so easy to work with such a person, right? But I have students who want to, you know, keep afloat. So they are trying to, they know something, and they just want to not to forget things. So they don't do actually anything. So sometimes it is hard to offer something interesting. For example, I have a student who does not know what is interesting for him at all. So we choose different topics, and he said, "Oh, it's not interesting. It is boring." Okay, do you want to watch maybe series, something which is interesting for you? I have no time. You know, well, challenging. I don't have time. I don't like to read. Well, I just don't find this topic interesting. Ooh, love such students.
We have pills for that.
Wow! Can you give me the title of the pill? Yeah.
Well, in my case, I like to use shame. I just yes, because it works for me. I like this thing. It's just the better way to learn how to swim. It's jump to river, and I do the same. I'm trying to speak with you. I understand how poor is my English, and it's motivate me to improve it, and it's always work for me. And I try to do that with another people. I just saying like you see this 5 years old boy speaking the perfect English and 5 more languages. Why you can't?
Good. It's a good thing, but it does not work for everyone, you know. So this is your way. So sometimes for some people they can feel embarrassed, they can be shy, and they say, "Oh, they speak so good, and I don't want to make mistakes and all this thing." You know, perfectionists. They need to say the sentence perfectly with perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, or they cannot say it at all. You know, otherwise they just don't want. They just keep silent. I have such a student as well. So either way, perfect English or no English at all. So I actually try to pull every word out of this student. Yeah.
And while we lost teacher Lee, Gerard, would
No,
you like to answer?
I don't know, why is that?
No.
she is here, but
Yes, teacher Lee is here, just no face.
no face,
Just
dark,
you. Yes, dark space.
dark side.
Okay. I'm not sure why that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Camera off, camera on.
Camera off. Yeah, on.
Yes.
Mhm.
You are back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Yes.
Good.
So,
Okay.
Gerard or teacher Lee, who like to answer this question, number 2?
Let me mention one thing. You talked about shame, which is a kind of punishment, and we talked about intrinsic. That gets to what the video used or called the carrot and stick approach. I have a couple of links on the whiteboard if you want to look at those. The stick is punishment or negative reinforcement. The carrot is reward or positive reinforcement. So the original metaphor or the original model for that was if you're sitting on a horse, first you try positive reinforcement, reward. You hold a carrot out in front of his face and he'll walk forward and try to get that carrot. And he'll keep walking forward and he's making progress. But if he doesn't move, then you use the stick and you whip him on the butt. And that's the negative reinforcement. So that's the carrot and stick approach, is using positive reinforcement or promise of reward and using negative reinforcement. And we've shown by studies that the carrot is more effective than the stick. But people still use the stick sometimes. Public shame.
I know a joke, but I don't know if I can translate it well, but I try. So it's about this approach, carrot and stick. And once boss bring buttons and monitors with label coffee, and who works well, they receive a button. You press it, you get a coffee. Who works worse, they receive a monitor. You see that someone wants a coffee and you bring it.
Yeah.
About motivating someone to study English, I think it should be easy, because the need of knowing English is very important in our days, because it's the lingua franca and everybody can learn it easily. Many years ago we had French, but only the elite learned French. But nowadays middle-class people can learn English without a problem. We can communicate with people from all around the world. We can read in English and get a lot of information, watch movies, TV shows, many things. That should be enough.
Yes, we discussed it many times. Our world became more and more international, more and more content available in English only. So it's necessary to know some little English. But you know, on my work, I always use English. I read all documents in English, and to understand these documents, you don't need English at all. You need to know 100 words, and that's all. Because they're written in poor English by other, not native speakers, and it's it's how I came here. I think that I can speak English after I can read that, but it's not English.
It's interesting you say that because the internet news talked about our Republican candidates, Trump and Rubio and Cruz, and how the first debate, they all spoke English at the 11th grade level. And then as the debates went on, they started speaking at the 7th grade level and then the 6th grade level. And they said Trump actually speaks at about the 4th grade level.
Oh my goodness.
Because most of the people that support Trump are not educated. So you're right. If you have a small vocabulary, sometimes you can understand everything if it speaks at a low grade level, you know. Newspapers, however, require a higher grade level because newspapers use a lot of idioms and expressions that if you don't know what it means, it's like nonsense. Like, what does this mean? Interesting. Okay. Our third question is, what's the reason of money not working to motivate people, according to the speaker? And I think we kind of covered that. If you are offered money to do it faster or do it better, you start thinking about the money and getting the money, and that little focus distracts you from focusing on the job itself. So it actually slows you down because it kind of splits your concentration. I want to do the job, I want to get this money. So I need to do the job so I can get this money. So you're kind of split in your concentration. And that's why it doesn't work for thinking jobs.
I also recall the another thing about money, what speaker said. He said, let's put the money out of table. Let's just pay enough to don't think about money. And I think it's a good point. I mean, after you exceed this level, all other money doesn't matter so much. So if a worker already had enough, you can't motivate it with money.
How much is enough?
It depends on where you live, but it's not so complicated. In many times, you can get just a number.
That gets back to, there's a theory that we talk about that's called satisfiers and dissatisfiers. Satisfiers and dissatisfiers. Point. Money is what we call a dissatisfier. If you don't have enough money, if you aren't paid enough money to pay for your food and your rent, you will be very unhappy. So they pay you more money. Now you can buy food, buy gas, pay for your rent. If they pay you more money, now your basic needs are satisfied. So paying you more money does not satisfy you more. But if they take away the money, it dissatisfies you greatly. So money is what's called a dissatisfier. If you have enough, giving you more will not make you more satisfied. But if you don't have enough, you will be very unsatisfied, very dissatisfied. So that's the satisfier-dissatisfier theory. Yes. Now, generally, praise is a satisfier. The more praise you get, the more satisfied you are. If your people come to you every day and say, man, Ivan, Yvonne, you are great. You help me every day. You know, the more you hear that, the more you will be satisfied at your work. So there's satisfiers and dissatisfiers. Now, how that applies to English learners, I'm not sure.
Maybe it applies for English teachers.
Yeah,
probably.
But we have satisfiers, English learners. We have satisfiers because we realize that we are improving. If we understand better, if we can read easily, more easily, that's a satisfaction. We don't need someone praising your English is very good, but I can notice that.
And that's the value of quizzes and tests. If you can see that you're learning, that you're making progress, that your test scores are getting higher and higher, that's intrinsic satisfaction. You can say, I am learning, I am getting better. That is a satisfier if you can. So that's why when someone teaches or gives a presentation and there's no quiz at the end to let the student test if he learned anything, it doesn't make sense to me. Teaching has to have evaluation or self-assessment so the student can see if he made progress or not. If he's not making progress, he will not be motivated. But if you can show him before my lecture you didn't know this, after my lecture now you know this, and he can say, yes, you're right, I made a 100 on the test. That's a satisfier and a motivator. So I believe in quizzes and tests. They don't need to be, you know, formal and graded, but give them some kind of a self-assessment, we call it, to show them that they learned something new. Diana, have you found that to be true? Do you always give them a quiz at the end?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And for the home task, like something to to keep work, to keep you thinking about what we're just doing during the class, during the lesson. Of course, yes. I like little tests, little quizzes. It is so easy now. We have all those online tools, and yeah.
Okay, I guess at this point, this might be a good time to look at some vocabulary just to make sure we're learning some English from this discussion. Yvonne, we'll start with yours. Do you have any questions about what those phrases mean that you listed on the whiteboard?
Well, I already looked everything in my dictionary, but but maybe for someone else.
Okay, at the outset means at the beginning. So, you know, at the outset, at the beginning. At the outset, I didn't know what the speaker was going to talk about. But after 10 minutes, I understood what the topic motivation meant. So at the outset, it's just at the beginning, just another way to say it.
Okay.
To put it mildly is to understate. To understate. Let's say Trump, okay, is if I say he's an unfriendly person, you might say that's putting it mildly. You're understating. You're saying it too weakly or too softly, okay? That's putting it mildly. You're understating the severity of the situation, okay? Let's say a building burns down and you tell your son, no, last night we had a small fire. Well, that's putting it mildly, okay? You're understating the enormity of it. To dust off is like if you have a book that you have not used for a long time and you pick it up and you go, and you blow the dust off of it and open it up. To dust off means to pick up something that you haven't used in a long time and to begin using it for some purpose, like my Chinese. I have not spoke Chinese in 20 years. So if I had to speak Chinese, I would have to get my Chinese books. I'd have to dust off my Chinese books to refresh my knowledge of Chinese.
Can you use this expression dust off when you talk about skills, for example? Can you dust off your skills?
Dust off.
For example, I am just trying to revive my piano player's skills, right? Can I dust off those skills?
I guess that would be okay. Dust off your skills.
It's not used that way, so.
It could be. That would work, I think. I don't use that phrase much, so I'm trying to think of an example that I hear it commonly, and I don't hear it commonly used, but yeah, you could say I need to dust off my piano skills, maybe. That might right word. The meaning is clear what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay.
Usually we say something, usually if it's a skill, we say brush up on.
Brush up. Okay.
I need to brush up on my piano skills. I need to brush up on my,
Brush up on. Okay. Okay.
yeah, on my Chinese. I need to brush up on my Chinese.
Okay.
Dust off, I think, is more used, I'm thinking, for a book or a machine, something that's physical that hasn't been used in a while. We need to dust off the printing press
Okay.
because we need to start printing again. We need
Mm-hmm.
to dust off that old motorcycle in the garage. I need to start riding it again.
Yeah.
I kind of remember or think that dust off is used more for a physical thing that hasn't been used in a long time, whereas
Okay.
skills we usually say brush up on.
Okay. Yes.
So I'll say dust off, and in parentheses I'll put brush up on just to kind of remind us of that.
Okay.
You know, so brush up on skills. Let's say dust off a device or a book, maybe just to give it a little bit more context.
Okay.
Touchy-feely is emotional.
It's a good one. Touchy-feely.
You know, you stroke somebody, good boy, pat me on the back. That's kind of touchy-feely, okay? You worry about people's emotions, so you try not to upset them. You try not to embarrass them. You try to praise them and encourage them. It's like talking to a baby. When you talk to a baby, you use the touchy-feely approach. You talk in a cute voice. That's okay. So coochie. You know, that kind of thing. Adults probably don't like the touchy-feely approach because an adult is insulted when you use the touchy-feely, you know. But with English students that are young, the touchy-feely approach a lot of times will work because you don't want to embarrass them. You want to make them feel comfortable and relaxed. So the touchy-feely approach works with young people.
Yeah. Not with adults, though. Probably. I don't know. Is it an adjective? It is an adjective, right? Adjective, touchy-feely.
Yeah, touchy-feely.
Touchy-feely approach. Okay. Good.
Emotional approach, a touchy-feely approach.
Approach. Okay.
You know, she has her method is a touchy-feely method. Yeah. Emanate is to emit or to give off. He emanates confidence. You know, he emanates a feeling that he's a competent person. So I'll say emit or give off or exude. He exudes confidence. When you look at him, he looks like he knows what he wants to do and he knows how to do it.
Exude.
Confidence emanates from him. Oversaw, I will change this to oversee.
Oversee, yes.
It's the present tense. And that means to supervise. Who's going to oversee this project? Who's going to follow this project and make sure it stays on schedule and on budget? Overseer is a noun for the person that oversees. An overseer is a supervisor. Yvonne, does that help solidify or gel the meaning in your mind?
I think so.
Over in the bigger block there, I've got the puzzle of motivation. This is just a list of phrases I heard that you may not recognize or may not have understood what the words were. Do you have any questions about what youthful indiscretion means? Youthful means young.
Yeah.
And indiscretion is usually an embarrassing mistake. Okay.
It's an interesting way of putting it, especially, yeah, in that context, right? Because he said that in his youthful, how did he put it? Youthful indiscretion, he went to the law school, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he was making a joke.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
But to give you an example, I think we had a post yesterday on cyberbullying, and I think Irina posted something, an example where a young girl in school let someone take her picture of her naked.
Oh,
And
okay.
that picture got circulated to other people. Allowing that picture to be taken of her naked was a youthful indiscretion.
Ah, okay.
It was an embarrassing mistake that she made.
Right.
Young kids do that. Okay.
One question. Could we say that some of Donald Trump's sayings are indiscretions?
Useful, you mean?
Not all indiscretions are youthful.
Not useful, but indiscretions alone.
Yeah.
Without,
Bill Clinton made a big indiscretion when he was in office. Okay, that was
Yes.
an indiscretion, but it wasn't youthful. He was old enough to know better.
Right.
An indiscretion might be you post something on Facebook saying that your boss is an idiot, and then your boss looks at your Facebook page. Okay, you've made an indiscretion. Okay, an embarrassing mistake.
but
You
if
should
you don't
not-
care, if Donald Trump don't care,
If you don't
About-
care, it's
it's not an indiscretion, I think.
that's true. Society makes it an indiscretion.
Okay.
Yeah, society. Like I say, it's embarrassing. So if you take away society, you can't embarrass yourself. But when society is there and you do something stupid, that's an indiscretion.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. In his mind, it wasn't. But to everyone else around him, it was.
Except his supporters.
We have two words, dignity and character. Have you ever heard those?
We don't have too much time, and
That's true. We'll skip that.
yes, let's. I have one one more last but not least topic for us. Let's discuss the way how the speaker introduced his ideas. So before that, we have a previous TED talk with a woman who talk about about reasons, and she did it very very ordinary, without any humor, without jokes, and I have seen that nobody was expressed about this video, but today's video are much better. We understand it clearly. It's take our attention to understand the ideas because of jokes, because of humor, because of way how it shows the idea. So let's talk about, is it useful? Is it useful in language learning to involve the humor in the process of learning?
Yeah, sometimes we use the term animated to mean a lot of movement, a lot of activity. If you sit there, you're what we call the talking head. Okay, today I'm going to teach you about nouns. That's very boring, but if you say, today we're going to learn about nouns. Nouns are so exciting. Okay? that excitement, that energy, what we call animation. So an animated lecture holds your attention more than a boring, quiet lecture.
Oh yeah, I can tell you about animation because in the mornings I teach at Montessori class, and my students are like 2.5, starting from 2.5 till 5 actually. Yeah, so a lot of animation is going on during the class. So we're sitting and joking and dancing and yeah, fooling around actually.
Yeah, kids especially love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that English teacher.
Adults too. If adults don't have something to, they'll fall asleep. You've probably seen that too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can shriek. Shriek voice helps, you know. Wake up!
Yeah. Ivans, any more comments or focus you want to discuss?
And we can. Krina just joined us, I see, and Krina, maybe you want to say something to us.
Hi, sorry for being late. This video from today, first time when I see the speaker talking, because a few years ago I saw on TED Talk a form of cartoon presentation. Do you know about the video? It's the same talk, but it's in the form of cartoon and looks interesting. I tried to find it, but I didn't have enough time. If I found it, I will post it. It's more explicit, if we can say.
So it's for our age from 2.5 and for 5.
No, you need to read and to follow very fast. It's not only listening. It's reading too. It's another skill.
Actually, this is like a new trend. Yeah, this drawing type of videos. So a lot of companies actually do that now, and a lot of talks are
Yeah,
it is good. I like that sometimes.
It's too fast. The rhythm is too fast, at least for me. I can follow the
It's
everything.
okay for a short time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Krina, and because you are late, we don't know your way to motivate yourself. Can you share it with us?
Money are good. Yeah.
So
I
you
don't work for anything else apart of money. If no money, I would like to stay home.
Yeah. So don't work. Okay.
I don't lie.
Yeah.
So you think that money are work good enough?
Yeah, but the work environment too. Luckily, I found a good place, good people around me, so we work together. Pretty good. Can be better. It's not perfect. Will never be perfect, but works.
Okay, but who pay you for learning English?
Oh, actually, I'm paid for, because I need to speak in English. Big money are coming. If it will be only Romanian, not be the same. Will be much less.
Well, I mean,
used a translator before, but having to pay the girl, and sometimes some information are leaked. So I had to learn the English to be just my boss and me. For everything.
Yes, but Krina, what I mean is, if only money motivate you, who pay you for to learning your English?
I learn English because my job is better when I speak in English. I have a bigger check. Yeah, the Canadian, I don't know why they don't learn Romanian. They have to learn my Romanian. It will be much better for me.
Yeah, let's make everybody learn Romanian. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
You
Why
have
not?
my vote.
Okay. So actually, you're saving money. Yeah, you mentioned that you're saving money by learning English because you don't need to pay to the mediator. Yeah,
the middleman,
to the translator. Mm-hmm.
And the secret, if it's known by two people, can be a secret, but
sure,
the one more implied is hard. So this is Ivan. He was very curious.
Okay, we have only few minutes to the end, so we can summarize it up. Everyone, I think I pass it to teacher Lee because who else?
No, yes, yes, I agree.
To give you some practice listening. Okay. We discussed the TED Talk about motivation, and basically what the speaker said was there's two kinds of motivation: intrinsic and extrinsic, or internal and external. Money is an external motivator, and his point was that there has been research done that proves that if you have a mechanical job that does not require much thinking, then money as an external motivator works to make you perform better, perform faster. But if the job is a kind of job where you have to think, do critical thinking, then money as an external motivator does not work, because instead of that reward that you're trying to get distracts your mind from thinking broadly, and it kind of focuses your concentration, and that's why money does not work as an external motivator or incentive for a thinking job. And that was the main thing that what he tried to emphasize was that businesses today are not learning from these facts, this research. Businesses are still trying to give thinking people like leaders, CEOs, presidents, trying to give them more money to do better, but that does not work for a business. So businesses today are stupid somewhat because they're ignoring the facts and doing what Gerard, or I think Yvonne said, they're doing what they've always been doing. They're not changing to reflect new discoveries, new information. So that's the gist of what it said. Then we talked about how do you motivate yourself, and how do you motivate English students. And we talked a little bit about intrinsic and extrinsic. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can try external motivation for a student by giving them praise or trying to embarrass them, the carrot and stick approach. But what works better is if you can internally motivate them by making them feel pride, by making them see progress where they want to do better because they see a difference, a change, an improvement. That motivation works better than an external motivation much of the time. And so that's kind of the summary. Any questions or comments or additions?
We just don't have more time. So, as always, we accept suggestion about next topic, about next date. Let's vote on the loop. I will create a topic for that. And see you next week.
Okay, one thing let me mention, if you look at the whiteboard, in the upper left, you'll see there's three icons. One looks like a down arrow, one looks like an envelope, and one looks like a trash can. If you mouse over the down arrow, you can export this whiteboard as an image file, as a JPEG. If you cursor over the envelope, you can email this whiteboard to yourself. So if you want to save a copy of this information, that whiteboard allows you to do so.
Okay, I will save it and attach to our class, so it will be saved as image.
Great.
Okay,
Bye.
excellent.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay, everyone, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.